Hey everyone, it's once again Two Noobs Talking, episode number 16. John Tracy with me. Of course, I'm Matt Craig. John, how you doing, man? What's going on tonight?
Always amazing, Matt.
It's great, isn't it?
No complaints.
We just continue to just do this thing, and it's just like it's
Why
just so
not?
freaking cool. Why
Why
not?
not?
So
Why
why
not?
don't we just dive again into the COVID talk since that seems to be on everyone's mind? Why don't we throw up screenshot one for our
Yeah, let's
review?
let's let's do Merck. Merck is doing something that everybody else isn't doing.
Absolutely. Yeah. I mean, they came out this week with um a press release that quite honestly I think was a little bit of a surprise for some people, I think.
Me definitely.
Yeah, yeah. And we have here that basically, long story short, top paragraph there. I'm not going to read it verbatim, but essentially the vaccines that they were working on, although they were doing pretty well in their phase 1 studies, and they're generally well tolerated. The immune responses were pretty much inferior to those seeing natural infection and to those that were reported for SARS-CoV-2. So they've decided to drop the vaccines completely and instead
Mhm.
focus on two of their experimental therapeutic drugs. And so far, if you will have a link to this in our show notes, one
It'll
of those two
permanently
drugs
change
has
that.
reduced the likelihood of being seriously infected with SARS by 50%. So I think Merck is going to go down that road. They seem to be more promising in that regard. John, your immediate thoughts on that? That's pretty
No,
good,
but
right?
absolutely. Thank you very much for actually calling COVID-19 SARS because that's what it is.
Yeah,
Um, I really appreciate that. That was,
sure.
if it was a Freudian slip, it's amazing because we've done a ton of research on that
Oh,
and
yeah.
understanding. We know where this virus comes from.
Yep.
And the federal government is doing a research too. So we're definitely going to know where this comes from at the end.
Mhm.
But yeah, no, absolutely. Completely agree with them. They don't see. This is the first company not to put money
Yeah,
in front of science.
yeah.
And that I honestly, when I got a hold of the story and I sent it to you, I think we were like, let's run with it.
Oh, absolutely.
Little inside story, like let's just run with it
Yeah.
because it's good.
Oh,
It's
absolutely.
it's just good. They excuse me, they rather the therapeutics,
Yeah. Yeah. In fact,
and their therapeutics are better.
absolutely. Yeah. And you see that like and again, we'll link this to our show notes. The fact that they have one of their drugs is like reducing the risk or reducing those that have severe cases of COVID or SARS or whatever by 50%. Now that's saying something. That's really good in terms of people that are in the hospital with this and really struggling.
Absolutely.
It's just really wonderful. And I think we also ought to make this point too. Your lovely wife had sent a terrific video of a doctor in Holland that basically has been making the rounds a little bit,
Mhm.
having a little bit of concerns about the messenger RNA vaccine. I mean, it is an amazing
Yeah.
piece of technology, but let's talk about that because it is also incredibly fast, and that should cause some concern here. For
My my fear with the the mRNA vaccine
Mhm,
is it's basic ninth grade science. That's my fear with it.
mhm,
Because if you have an autoimmune disease,
mhm.
it's not going to stop COVID. It's going to leech on to what is wrong already. Because
Mhm,
all it is coded DNA.
mhm,
We learn it. This is cloning 100%.
mhm,
Like if you get deep into it, like I don't think I'm speaking on a turn here.
mhm, mhm.
It's the MRA will do whatever it bleeping wants.
Yeah.
And if you have a deficiency already, it's gonna leech onto that deficiency and duplicate it.
Mhm,
That's my fear of it. That's why I will not take the vaccine.
mhm,
I
mhm.
disagree with the vaccine. Unless you're injecting me with actual COVID,
let my own immune system take it on. Thank you very
Exactly.
much.
Yeah. Thank you, Matt. I
Yeah.
appreciate that. But I don't want to play. I don't want to play the DNA game. I don't want to be cloned. I don't
Yeah.
want to. And that's to be honest with you, when you know,
Mhm.
lovely Amber put that out to both of us, and we listened to it. No, I don't want to do that. That
Yeah.
seems stupid.
Yeah. And
It
it's,
really
I think,
does.
yeah. And I think for me, I think the biggest thing is really just the concern I guess I would have is really the speed. I mean, it's amazing technology. Don't get me wrong. I think that's just amazing.
I have no issues with the speed
95%
because
effective, also really good.
to be honest with you,
Hmm.
Trump did something
Yes.
that
Hmm.
no president did before. He
Hmm.
cut red tape. So, because everybody knows, every government official knows, everybody that knows anything about the government, they completely
Screeching halt. Oh, yeah.
they understand there's a ton of red tape.
Hmm. Hmm.
The reason the vaccine came so quick is Trump cut all the red tape out.
Yeah. Yeah.
And then that's okay to cut the red tape out.
Oh, yeah. Oh,
Because
yeah.
why does 17 people need to be paid to look at something that 2 people could?
Exactly. Yeah.
That's what he did. So the speed to me isn't a problem,
It's
but we've
just,
never seen it before, so I totally understand why it'd be a problem.
hmm,
My only problem with the vaccine, the mRNA, just from
hmm,
what's been said, if you have an underlying condition, it's worse than COVID,
yeah.
to be honest.
Yeah. It's kind of like,
And that's not I'm not a scientist, so don't fucking take me for that.
but
Because I'm not a scientist at all, but
it's
it,
a concern and I get it. I
it's
totally get
common
that.
sense.
Hmm. Hmm.
Like it could be worse than the virus.
Yeah.
You might just want to get the virus and not.
Yeah, exactly. And I think the probably the biggest takeaway from all this is, we're John and I are both really looking into this and really coming up with
Trying.
or
Absolutely.
trying to come up with an informed decision about what to do. I've kind of wavered back and forth on it. I was like, okay, wow, this is really great. The vaccine's been created. It's like, that's awesome. But am I eager to take it? That's the question. And I think the
That is
biggest
the
question I've got in my own mind is,
let's ask that question to Matt right now. Are you eager to take it? If it was delivered tomorrow, would you do it?
I don't know. That's a great question. I don't think I would, only because, and the only reason I say that is because I know that I've taken the own individual steps for my own health in terms of taking D3 and vitamin C and eating right and exercising and doing all of the individual little things that keep my immune system strong. To me, it's like I feel like I'm in a much better spot than what I was, let's just say 2, 3 years ago, where I was overweight, to be perfectly honest with you. But now, John, it's like taking this, it's kind of like, and my only concern on top of this, and this is where I think where my point's going. What if it's required? If I have to go onto an airplane, am I going to have to provide a card that says, yes, I've taken the COVID-19 vaccine? Like, that's ridiculous. To me, that's like that. I understand the concern. I understand like the thought process of like, well, we got to make sure that everybody's healthy.
Mm-hmm.
I get that.
Yeah.
But the moment you kind of you're superseding and taking on an assumption that because I don't take the vaccine, that you're prohibiting me from getting onto an airplane and flying to, whatever business trip I may go to or personal vacation spot I may go to.
Mhm.
That's where I kind of draw the line a little bit there. And that's where I've run into some of my friends outside of this podcast. It's like, I no, they hesitate because of that very fear or thought that they're going to be required to take this. And that's something
I
we
think
need
that
to kind of just like put out of our minds, but also address with our, I guess, our government officials or whatever the case may be, with
well,
anyone really.
absolutely. I think that's been the biggest conversation that I've had with most of being, is everything going to be government regulated? Has the fear gotten to that point? We have a little bit of constitutional talk a little bit later. That will clear up some things, and you will get us. But no, absolutely, positively, yeah. I mean, we all worry about that. Like, is the government just going to be like, well, you need the COVID vaccine because we said you did, and you can't work unless that happens? Like, I know I asked my work about it. Especially with a Biden administration, which I trust probably less than mud.
I was
To
just
be
going to say,
honest.
like, how small can you go, John?
Yeah, exactly. Like mud. Like how much do you trust mud? That's how much I trust the Biden administration.
Exactly.
Like,
Yeah.
Joe Biden sucks as a human.
Yeah.
Just
Yeah.
just read on him in Wikipedia.
Yeah.
Fixed. He sucks.
Yeah.
No,
But
I'm not trying to get political with Joe Biden, but we all know, you've
but
watched this show, you know I hate him.
oh, sure.
Moving on.
Yeah. But I think your point's well taken. It's like, okay, what if we get to that? Is it going to get to that kind of a point? And I would really, really hope we don't get to that kind of point where it's
I
like we have
don't.
to have a check mark that we've taken a vaccine, or a check mark that we're 98.6 and we're allowed into our office building, 98.6 degrees, and we're
don't
allowed into the office. It's ridiculous. Yeah.
I don't believe America will ever get to that point, because that's socialism, which socialism is communism, and communism is
Yep. Authoritarianism.
racism, and blah blah
Yeah.
blah blah blah. We can go on and on and on.
Yeah.
We understand what the concept is. Yeah, I don't. Does America get? Maybe. I don't know.
Mm.
I don't know.
I
It's how
think
we
there has
vote
to be a better understanding and a better, like,
about human beings.
about
Absolutely.
human beings. Yeah, exactly. Yeah. Like, we need to have more of a better horizontal view of ourselves. Horizontally meaning, like,
I think so. But that also is a great conversation to have later when we have more facts, because here's the thing. Let me end this segment on something, that an epiphany I had earlier today. The epiphany I had is Joe Biden literally yelled and screamed, right? The entire run, that he was gonna make a mask mandate. Everybody, you're all gonna wear masks because I said so. And he did this whole blah 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 blah. You know what executive order he signed? He did sign a mask mandate.
Yeah.
You know what he signed?
Go for it. What is it?
For all federal buildings. Because here's the thing, Joe, you don't got that kind of power.
Yeah, exactly.
You don't got that Trump don't have that power. You don't have that power. No president has that power. Tell me what to do.
Exactly.
So what he did was bullshit propaganda, that everybody's gonna wear a mask. You got to go to Wawa. You got to go to Sheetz. You got to go to 7-Eleven. You all have to wear masks. You have to wear 7 masks. He played that game.
Yeah.
All the way up to the election. And you know what he signed? The executive order he signed? A little pussycat.
Yeah.
Oh, all government employees have to wear them. You're a fraud.
You're a fraud. Yeah. What was it? I think I made a joke, one of our pre-production meetings, Shoddy, remember? I said, the only thing you need to know about the inauguration was Biden asked us to wear masks for 100 days. Well, 100 minutes later, he was caught at the Lincoln Memorial without a mask on. That's all you need to know, that kind of deal. So,
by the way, if you like this show, you should probably see our pre-production meetings.
Yeah, exactly.
We cuss a lot more, and we talk about stuff that you don't. But seriously, that's how I feel about that.
Yeah.
Like, shut up.
Yeah, and at the end of the day, it's kind of like, we've talked about it too, with the governors not defying their own orders. So how serious is this virus ultimately if the top government officials don't heed what they're saying?
Exactly.
At the end of the day. So that's that. I'll just leave it at that, I guess. But John, let's go ahead and just jump right into our good pals at Facebook, shall we? Let's jump right into screenshot number 2. This is their oversight board. Reviews all kinds of cases, and really, it's quite interesting because there's a user that posted a video and accompanying text with a Facebook group related to the pandemic, and I'll just quote this verbatim for our audio listeners. Quote, in the video and text, there is a description of an alleged scandal about the agency. There's a French agency responsible for regulating health products, purportedly refusing authorization for use of hydroxychloroquine and acetaminophen. Apologies for mispronouncing that second one, against COVID.
We worked on that for all
We worked
day
on that for
yesterday, by
days.
the way, so hopefully we got close.
But continuing on, but authorizing promotional mail for remdesivir. The user criticizes the lack of a health strategy in France and states that Renault's cure, which refers back to hydroxychloroquine, is being used elsewhere to save lives. The video was viewed approximately 50,000 times, shared under 1,000 times. Facebook removed the content for violating its policy, and I love this, on violence and incitement. And in its referral, indicated to the oversight board that this case presents an example of the challenges faced. Bullshit, whatever. End quote.
Wow.
So this kind of reminds us of the story, John, screenshot number 3, of the time where Facebook
Look,
took
Beaker.
down a viral video clip. Yeah, Beaker from the Muppets. Love it. But basically,
Beaker. Just look at him for a minute. Beaker. Look, it's just Beaker. That literally looks like Beaker. That's funny.
We gotta put a comparison. Gotta get Maya to put a comparison of Zuckerberg and Beaker back to back. Just
Producer Maya, will you totally do a Beaker Beaker Zuckerberg thing? And we can
might
just
as well, right?
at this point.
But it basically just this whole
Yes.
article was just a recap of what happened in July, where these doctors came up and said, "Hey, hydroxychloroquine is a legitimate, viable drug."
I'm sorry, I don't even know where to go with this article. It's so stupid.
Yeah,
But we'll just stay there. Sorry.
it pretty much is
just
saying that, you
scrolled
know,
down the whole
they,
thing.
and of course
Reading the show
Facebook took
notes.
down the video. So John, this kind of like, you know, this, we've gone on and on about Facebook, and quite honestly, you and I, our usage in that social media platform outside of Two Noobs Talking has gone straight downhill.
The only reason I have Facebook is because of Two Noobs Talking.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, same here.
I'm actually trying to sell this to my kid to do it on his Facebook, so I don't have to be on Facebook. It didn't work out well. He declined. He's 15 and he hates Facebook. And I tend to agree with him. I'm not going to be on Facebook much longer.
Yeah.
This podcast, like, hopefully, we're on Gab now. So Two Noobs Talking's on Gab, and that's kind of where I think our content's going to go. Because, it's atrocious.
Yeah.
They literally were treating us like we were stupid.
Yeah.
In the beginning of this pandemic.
Yeah.
That's what was happening.
Yeah.
They were treating us like we were stupid.
Yeah. Yeah.
I don't think we're that stupid.
No.
Like,
I mean, if anything, it ties back to all the way back in 2016 to Trump-Clinton election, and the idea that Russian spies were after, you know, and like infiltrating our social media accounts and all this other stuff. And that, to me, that's, we have a great tagline at the end of this podcast: "Don't go down the rabbit hole." Well, that to me was good. Don't go down the rabbit hole material. That is rabbit hole material, basically.
But that's what we mean by that.
Yeah.
Like, that's the inside joke of the whole thing. Like, I love conspiracy theories, but I'm not stupid.
Exactly.
The whole thing, Matt is not a huge conspiracy theory guy, but we talk legitimate business all the time. And that's where the tagline came from. Just for inside love, is that I came up with that tagline. Hey, Matt, don't go down the rabbit hole, as a joke. I do it all day. I love it, but I'm not an idiot.
Yeah. Yeah.
And the whole "don't go there" no doesn't mean that Matt's an idiot. It's just that
I don't
Matt
need to
doesn't
go down there.
Matt has no reason to go down there.
Exactly. It's out of love that John protects me, you see, but it's great. I mean, I love it. But
It's literally like I love to see what the other side's doing. That is where me and Matt have always bashed heads.
mm-hmm,
Being a liberal, being a conservative, being a
mm-hmm.
conservative, being a liberal, like
Liberal.
we've kind of switched in a way. We butt heads all the time. That's why we do this.
Yeah. Yeah, exactly.
Because it's
Yeah.
fun. It's fun.
Yeah.
I like arguing and talking to you.
Ditto.
It's fun.
Ditto.
And that's the whole point of what I think we're trying to get into. Like, this isn't like, oh, we're gonna do this article because we have an agenda.
Yeah.
No,
Or
we have no agenda.
we have
He
no
tells me I'm
agenda
wrong
at
half the
all.
time.
Yeah, exactly.
I
You
tell
know
him
there's
wrong.
an
He half the
agenda.
time.
You know there's an agenda when something gets stripped away from you. To me, that's not the free exchange of ideas at all. And that's not obviously what the country was founded upon. It's like when you have something where you're so concerned about this being propagated, let that propagate in the country, but
Agreed.
let the discussions happen. Don't take it away from people and say, like, because people will
Agreed.
be like, okay, I don't buy it. And I have my reasons why, and these are the reasons why I don't buy this particular theory of yours, and whatever. But you're engaging in conversation and dialogue. When you take that away, when you take something away from somebody, it's like because you're trying to, for violence and incitement, get out of here with that type of
So
stuff.
dumb.
Get out of here.
It's so dumb. Literally be like, we have a production meeting. Let's just go a little bit behind the scenes, right? And Matt, you're like, well, I believe this. And I'm like, well, I don't want that on my podcast or our podcast. I didn't mean to say my. I don't want it on our podcast. I don't want to look that way. Matt, your view can't be put on there.
Mm-hmm.
And then you're like, what the? Why did I even
That's not two
sign up for
noobs
this?
talking. Yeah.
Exactly. Why did I sign up for this? Because like my view doesn't get put on. Like, and I'm making myself the villain because just as it's not the way that extra works, but that would be what we're seeing.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
Like we're seeing a lot of, oh well, there's an alternative view.
Yeah, exactly.
My camera likes to move constantly.
But yeah, it's like I think your point is well stated, John, because it's like you don't see it like really like there isn't any like discussion. It's more talking point, talking point, talking point, talking point,
Argument.
and there's nothing. They're just talking. There's no like you and I are having this honest discussion right now about what we're seeing, and each of us are coming up with our own opinion on it. It's not like, and we're having a dialogue in regards to that, and we may agree and we may disagree with it, but it's like we're having an honest and open discussion about it. When I look on Facebook, and especially when I see threads, it's kind of like, oh my gosh, where are you going? Some of these posts and threads are like, really? Like you can't just spout somebody else's viewpoint either and call it your own. That's another thing I would have too. But it's one of those things where I think at the end of all of this, really, when you really stop to think about it, Facebook originally when it came out was more of a let's get together, let's share photos, and let's get to know, touch base.
No, it was a whole wonderful. Hey, it was a point of
just get together with your friends and
gathering
stuff like
friendships and being a part of it, and it turned into something more opinion based than political based. And that see that's where Facebook kind of fell off. And that's why actually the youth that I notice the youth doesn't use it that way.
No.
I actually had a conversation with my son earlier, and I was like, "Hey, do you want to take over the social medias because you know a little bit more?" And he was like, "Well, Facebook's stupid. I don't want to be on a Facebook account." He doesn't even want to do a Two Noobs Facebook account, and he's a huge fan of Two Noobs.
Mm,
You know what I mean? Like he was like, I don't want to be on there because
yeah.
it's he set up our Discord account. This is gonna like talk more about social media. He
Mhm.
set up a Discord account, and you know what the first thing he set up?
Mm.
Anti-bullying.
See, the
That's a
new
15 year
generation
old.
gets it. Yeah.
That's a 15-year-old
Yeah.
setting up anti-bullying.
New generation's getting it, John, to be honest with you. They're starting to see the Discord, and I think they hear of the reputation that a
Mhm.
Facebook, a Twitter are having, and they're thinking like, well, I don't want to treat my, my elder or my, the people that are older than me that way, or my friends that way.
Yeah.
And that's a really, really good thing,
No,
obviously.
it's a great thing, but
It's a great thing.
that's really funny. That was the first thing that
Yeah.
he said. He set up the anti-bullying
Bullying
thing
thing. Mhm.
before he set up the whole channel.
Yeah. That's good. May that forever increase more than anything else,
I
right?
hope so. I hope
Yeah,
so.
exactly.
Hope so. Big shout out to Nathaniel. He's
But
awesome.
yeah.
We'll run the Discord. We'll run the Discord where you can actually talk to us, ask us questions. We have a meme. We have a political meme thing just for funsies.
That's awesome.
We'll do live stuff when we feel the need. It'll probably replace our Instagram live that we don't do anymore
Yeah.
because Instagram and Facebook suck. So we'll bring it more onto our platform.
Yeah.
Show notes will also be on there. Just as much as WordPress.
Yep.
Just so we can discuss those articles if you would like to. Like
Yeah.
me and Matt are on there. So it's a good thing. It's a
Yeah, absolutely.
fun thing. It's a good announcement. Discord is a total free environment.
Mhm.
So moving
Yeah.
on, Matt. Let's go to the next thing.
Yeah, let's talk a little bit about like the Constitution. I mean, we kind of abridged to it a little bit
Yeah,
earlier on,
absolutely.
but I think you and I had like a really good discussion yesterday in pre-production about like the differences that we find between like I think there was you had something where it was like, oh my God, okay, well, free speech is that in the Declaration of Independence? And I said, no, 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 it's definitely in the Constitution, but only
Yeah,
in.
it was more of understanding where things come from.
Yeah,
Can you
exactly.
please explain the Constitution and then explain both of them as well as you do?
Oh, sure. Yeah. So the Declaration of Independence, I think this is where it kind of you get a little muddy of the waters between the two main founding documents of the country. The Declaration of Independence was more, it is exactly what it sounds like. It is a declaration of independence from a sovereign nation. So think of it in that regard. The colonists, when they created the Declaration, wanted a united front against King George III in Great Britain for all of the stripes that they list out. And if you look at the Declaration, you'll see all the individual complaints that the colonists were having against King George, basically. And they're pretty specific. Back then there was a lot going on. And so in some of that language, there is that of all men, I think one of the greatest phrases was Jefferson was, we believe that all men are created equal. And that sometimes gets misconstrued as being in the Constitution. It's not. It's in the Declaration of Independence. That foundational argument, though, in the Declaration is found it's hidden within the United States Constitution, within the Bill of Rights. And within the Bill of Rights, you've got
That's where I
things
got
like freedom of
confused.
the press, you've got freedom of religion, and the Congress shall make no law establishing this and establishing that, and all that kind of stuff. It's a restraint on the government to, basically protect the constitutionality or the rights, the God-given rights that are given to the people that are living here in this country. So that's really the two main differences between the two arguments. And it's just something that I think we always have to always think about being Americans, thinking like, okay, well, what are the two, what are the differences between the two? I hope that helps in that regard, because it's like, it can get confusing. You're thinking like, oh my God, okay, well, freedom of speech. Well, that's in the US. That's definitely in the Declaration, right? Well, no, it's not. It's guaranteed in the US Constitution, and vice versa. It's like you're
Absolutely.
thinking, like what I was saying before. Um, that all men are created equal. That's not in the Constitution, but it's definitely in the Declaration of Independence. It's definitely within the bloodstream of the Constitution. So little things like that.
Yeah,
Yeah.
it's enough, and that was a great conversation we had to understand, and we wanted to kind of share that because
Mm-hmm.
just kind of understanding where our rights end and begin. We are all free people.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I mean? We're not a corporation.
Mm-hmm.
Corporations have less
Mm-hmm.
values than free people do.
Mm-hmm.
And it's important just to kind of understand, because a lot of people want to run out and constitutionalize stuff that isn't constitutional.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I mean?
Yeah, exactly.
And it's like, whoa, slow down, bro.
Yeah.
Like the mask rule, I don't think that falls under the Constitution. I honestly think, and I might be wrong, I might be right. Matt can probably correct me on this because he's smarter than I. The mask rule actually falls under the safety of the no shirts, no shirts, no
Service rule,
service rule.
probably.
Technically, because it's public safety.
Yeah.
That it doesn't fall under the Constitution at all.
Exactly. That's a great analogy and a great point. Yeah.
So
That is protecting. That is the business's right to refuse
the business's right to tell you that you need to wear a clown hat
Mm-hmm.
when you go in. Like, the business can say whatever the business wants to,
Mm-hmm.
because the business is just as free as the person.
Absolutely.
The
Absolutely.
public safety thing, and I don't even know where that came from. I'm glad that came, but I
love it. I love it.
No, I think it's good for people to understand.
Oh,
mask isn't a government thing.
Yeah.
It's
That's
a
why
private
we
guy.
rail against the mandate, because it's like that's why there's no the Constitution basically prohibits a mandate from happening. Why?
Exactly.
Congress shall make no law, referring to whatever fill in.
Yeah.
I think it's pretty much in the First Amendment. So
Exactly. And
that's an example of that.
that's why
Yeah.
Joe Biden couldn't. He lied to you.
Yeah.
He was going to make a national mandate, but the only thing he could sign was a federal national mandate.
And that frustrates.
All federal buildings.
Mm-hmm.
You have to wear masks in all federal buildings.
Yeah.
That wasn't your yard. It wasn't your car.
Mm-hmm.
It wasn't the mall.
Mm-hmm.
Like, he can't do that.
Yeah.
But what they can do with the no shoes, no shirt,
Mm-hmm.
no service,
Mm-hmm.
the mask can become a part of that.
Absolutely. Yeah.
Because it's a public safety thing.
Yeah,
That's
exactly.
that's where you can't hate Joe Biden,
Mhm.
even though I want to. You can't hate Joe. You have to hate the WHO and the CDC.
Yeah.
Because they're the ones
Mhm.
that are telling you COVID is dangerous.
Dangerous and
So that's
deadly.
where those people, I think I'm correct. I don't think I'm speaking out of turn.
No.
Okay.
Spot
Just
on.
make sure.
Spot on. Yeah. Yeah, I think you're right, because it's when I stop to think about that argument, John, it's like you do see that, and it's like, okay, if you don't have a shirt on, if you don't have shoes on, that's both very unsanitary.
It's a
Obviously,
health problem.
it's a huge health problem.
No, I
Exactly.
agree. I don't.
But when
I don't rip my shirt off and go into 7-Eleven.
exactly. Exactly.
I would expect them, if I did, they'd be
Yeah.
like, "Oh, bro,
Tackle you to the ground and get you out of there. Yeah, exactly.
put a shirt on before you come in here."
Exactly.
Get it?
Yeah.
Like, totally get it.
Totally get that. Absolutely. Yeah. So, and I think that makes me think about that. Like, if that was like, if the businesses took more of that kind of a responsibility, hey, okay, there's potential, COVID type stuff. The business is saying, we have the right. This would be a great example. The business would have the right to say, if you don't have a mask on indoors, we will keep you protected. But if you do not have a mask on when you enter into our building, we can say
refuse service, but that's where it because we don't have science
Yeah.
on the masks, and that's the issue.
Bingo.
So if
And
the
whether or not they're effective or not, yeah.
exactly. So if the federal government, we'll wrap this up really quickly, just with this, and then your response. To be honest, if the federal government and privatized companies want to come together and understand the risk and the unrisk of mask in this no shirts, no shoes policy, right? Because that's where they should be focusing on, and stop lying to people and saying that it's a federal thing, because it's not, because obviously Joe Biden can't.
Yeah.
If you want to get together two independent communities, let's do this for a month. Let's figure it out. Like, is it beneficial or is it not beneficial?
Right.
Let's use actual science data. We could get rid of this thing in a month.
Yeah.
And that's what needs to happen. I understand where it comes from. We're not stupid.
Yeah.
I understand where it comes from.
Exactly.
But the problem is, where is the legislation to be like, hey, we need. So if the president can't say it, why are we doing it?
Yeah.
Is the big question.
Yeah.
So who do we need to press on to figure out whether we should or should not be?
Exactly.
That's my question I will leave the Two Noobs audience with.
There you go. Exactly. Good point.
On to the next thing.
Well, let's move on, John, to probably the most weird, bizarre, and just outright crazy story I think you and I have ever seen, probably in our lives this week.
I don't even understand it.
This is where Two Noobs really comes in, because we are both not high finance guys. But GameStop's stock went absolutely, and AMC stock went absolutely through the roof.
Crazy through the
Crazy
roof.
Busy.
I did like $350.
Yeah, I think it was up to close to $500 for GameStop.
When I looked at it, it was 300 and felt like, what?
Yeah,
GameStop, seriously, GameStop sucks.
Yeah, it's pretty bad. Yeah, it's awful in the gaming community. But yeah, this is a CNET article, and the headline, quote, Reddit wants to send AMC GameStop stock to the moon. Here's what's next, end quote. So scrolling down just briefly, John.
Yes.
Wall Street investors make big bets. Stop right there. Sorry, go back up a little bit. Because I'm reading the first sentence of the article right there.
There we go.
So Wall Street investors made big bets that struggling video game retailer GameStop would fall. They've been making those bets for a long time too, and they were so sure. GameStop became one of the most heavily bet against stocks on the market. The past few months, though, a bunch of Reddit users have been buying up shares, pushing up GameStop's value and undermining Wall Street big bettors. At first, these forum traders bought because they believed the company was better off than the Wall Street doubters thought. Then, as GameStop value soared, Wall Street bad bets started to cost investors billions of dollars. So I think that right there, I mean, that in of itself, you're talking some really shady dealing by the hedge funders. It's unbelievable. In fact, we're going to play this real short clip from the Tucker Carlson show. He had on David Portnoy of Barstool Sports, who John and I both absolutely love. If you ever,
he's amazing. He's absolutely amazing.
He is the greatest. I mean, he is just absolutely hilarious.
He's a good human.
Absolutely.
He's definitely a good human.
So we're going to just play this real quick clip. John and I will go, this player will come back after this clip. But it is an amazing clip about how angry Dave Portnoy was over this entire story. So I'll go ahead and just jump right into this here.
Whatever our current system is definitely not the capitalism we were promised. Not even close. One of the rare people in media who understands this is our next guest. He's the founder of Barstool Sports, as well as an independent investor who trades an awful lot online and has done well. Dave Portnoy joins us now to explain exactly what this moment means. Dave, this kind of gets to the heart of what you've been doing under quarantine. And I'm wondering what lessons we can draw from this. What is happening exactly?
You know, I've been trading heavily since quarantine started, and I was shocked by this. I personally did invest in AMC and Nokia. Those are two of the stocks that the Reddit guys and the Wall Street Bets guys were pushing. I believed in the power of the internet. When I saw what Robinhood was doing, ironically, Robinhood take from the rich and give to the poor, even though they do the exact opposite. I was stunned. I think it's criminal. I think there has to be an investigation. I think people have to go to jail. Whether that actually happens, I don't know. But I've never been more convinced about market manipulation and the people, the hedge funds controlling the game than today. I mean, just to wake up and say, hey, you can't trade these stocks anymore. You can only sell them. We are going to intentionally crash the market in these stocks. And everyone who has it, tough, you're going to lose a ton of money, but we're going to save the rich people and the hedge funds. Shocking. Like in 20 years of me doing Barstool, I'm not exaggerating. It's the most shocked I've been, and maybe I shouldn't be, but when you have AOC and Donald Trump Jr. both on the same side of an issue, you know something's dramatically wrong.
I mean, that's phenomenal.
Yeah. You're talking far right, far left, totally, completely on the same page.
Yeah.
Even though AOC she has no dignity.
Yeah, exactly.
And I'm okay with saying that.
Yeah.
I'm not that far right. This is literally like center saying she has no dignity. Get used to it. He's like, it is criminal.
Absolutely. Yeah.
The way he describes it, it's completely criminal.
It's just unbelievable.
Isn't everything supposed to be clear? And that would be like, okay, let me just analogy for fun, right?
Yep.
It'd be like me and Matt. I'm like, Matt, it's a podcast, right? We're gonna do a podcast, right? And I literally just run him over with conspiracy theories. And Matt doesn't even know what I'm talking about because he's not versed in that, right? I just run him over with conspiracy theories. I'm like, hey, let's just do QAnon stuff for hours.
Yeah.
And Matt just sits there like, I have That's what they just did.
Yeah. Pretty much just railroaded that entire thing. And it really, what is amazing to me is the fact that GameStop is dying a very slow death in the marketplace. There is no future for GameStop. None.
Because of PlayStation and Xbox doing all the streaming stuff, and you can just buy the game digital. Of course they were dying. And what I heard, I don't know if I'm right, but what I heard from what I read was that some rich guy was like, well, I'm just going to turn it into Amazon because Amazon's going to tank eventually. The same thing that Bezos did, that piece of garbage.
Yeah.
He bought a book company and turned it into a multi-marketing, sell you anything. I just bought something from Amazon, so even though I'm calling him a piece of trash,
amazing
that I need it. Like, yeah, exactly. That's what was the article that I read was. That's what it was saying. Like they were going to turn GameStop into that same, because they knew that Amazon was going to tank, so they were just going to become the next billionaire, which is bizarre.
So bizarre.
I understand making money, but when you're making position, that's criminal.
Yeah, exactly. And that's what I think Robinhood, the entire Robinhood app was like, that Portnoy goes a little bit more into that clip. And again, we'll show it in our show notes. But I mean, it really is amazing to me that,
he doesn't like that dude at all.
He does not like that dude at all. And he's coming for him.
We'll definitely show notes.
Portnoy's the greatest. Love him to death. I would work for him in a heartbeat. I love that guy.
Oh, yeah.
Absolutely love that guy.
Me too. No, he it seems like he does business properly.
And if anything too, like if you ever get a chance to like do with a pizza review, he does some, I mean, he does an outrageous one with Lunchables Pizza, which is just, it'll get you rolling, man.
Barstool Sports it's your go-to app.
Yeah.
It's your go-to bet. It's your go-to app. If you're a better Barstool Sports, especially in Philly,
Yeah.
He's an honest, great person. And if you're a Trump fan, please check out the interview he did with Donald Trump. It's
Yeah.
probably one of the best interviews ever given
Mm.
of a president ever.
There you go. There you go. So, John, I mean, heading to the final segment here, I think we should, we're turning sports. Obviously, you got the Super Bowl.
We're trying.
Yeah, exactly. But screenshot 5, let's share this with our audience because I think this was long, long overdue for a long time. But we're really proud of this lovely lady, Sarah Thomas, making history, being the first female referee to officiate in this season's Super Bowl, I think in Tampa. And she's the first one. She's been roughing in the NFL since 2015. One of the best ones, I believe, as well. Best, like, I don't know.
I think her grades are beyond.
Yeah.
I don't know if the article. No, I'm not even going to chase the article. Just keep her up there.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think her grades were by far. That's, by the way, that's the only way you get into the Super Bowl is you're graded all year.
And you have high marks on that. Yeah.
So what your grade is did you do your job to the best of your ability? She has marked out.
Yeah.
Over.
Like she was cream of the crop type of, yeah.
Exactly. And that's why she is in the Super Bowl. Because only the cream of the crop guys and girls get. I mean, is it weirdly timed? Absolutely. It probably should have happened in 2015 because I mean, if you're good at what you do.
Oh yeah. And officiate in a speed in a league that has the players going at 4 seconds for 40 yards. I mean, that's a second for every 10 yards that they run. The fact that, she's able to do that with her own, I mean, it's just amazing. It's just
absolutely, dude. A female, especially in officiating, a female can do as good or better. Like I'm not gonna blow smoke. You know what I mean? Like dude, there should be 100. There should be 100 males and 100 females doing officiating.
Yeah.
In the NFL.
So yeah.
Literally. But thank you, NFL, for doing something. Again, I'm not buying your stupid hat.
Yeah.
You guys are morons, and you decided to hire her, and she was good.
But Sarah Thomas
probably should have put her in the Super Bowl if she was
a few years ago. Yeah.
Yeah. You're behind the times.
Yeah.
I'm not saying that it's wrong. I'm just saying the bull crap of these organizations is now they're like, oh, everybody.
Oh, we got to catch up. Yeah.
Yeah, we're going to catch up. Stop.
Yeah.
You were doing what you were supposed to do.
Yeah.
Maybe you should have did this in 2015.
Yeah. Yeah, exactly. But it's great for her and a tremendous accomplishment.
Absolutely.
Just awesome stuff.
Like, the fact that you're that good, like from that article that I read, you're that good.
Yeah.
You're better than Ed Hockley, that idiot. Thank God you're better than Ed Hockley.
He's retired too, thank God.
Thank God, that dude's an ass muncher. Let's be really like too gassed up. Like he was like steroid up, wrong. Yeah, exactly. Like I'm this everything offsides.
Oh my gosh,
that guy.
Offsides.
I hated Ed Hockley. I wanted him to fall over every time he spoke.
Unbelievable.
Oh, I hated that dude. That dude.
You know his last game though, John. I will say this: his last game, 2017 NFC Championship game. You know, of course, who was in that game. Eagles Vikings, of course. We ended up going to the Super Bowl and ended up winning. So there you go.
And I was probably yelling at him during that. Oh, I hate that dude. I don't hate him as a person.
Yeah,
I hated the
long explanations were the ones that really got to me. Yeah, it was like, dude, I don't need a diatribe. Just tell me what happened, and I'll figure it out.
You're a built dude. Why did NBC put you up there?
Yeah,
because you're like,
yeah, exactly. Like. But one other thing too, before we get out of here, John Chaney. John Chaney was a great college.
Oh, we need to talk about this for a minute. Absolutely.
Yeah. John Chaney was
Absolutely.
a tremendous coach. I went to Temple University.
Yes, you did. Yes, you did.
uh,
My brother graduated from Temple.
There you go. Dad, of course,
Huge
father
Temple
went to Temple as
fan.
well.
I'm a huge Temple basketball fan.
There you go.
I'm a huge Temple football fan.
There you go. Yeah. They're out there. You got them out there
Temple's
somewhere.
real. Temple's
Yeah,
not a
there you go.
second-rate school.
But John
Learn to
Chaney was
respect it.
John Chaney was I would say arguably the greatest coach in the history of the university. Harry Litwack may have something to say about that. I don't know. But that was like
But
back before I
also-
was my time.
Yeah, no.
But
no.
Chaney,
Also, you don't know who basketball. You don't know who Jay Wright is without John Chaney.
without John
You
Chaney.
don't know who Fran Dunphy is, who went on to coach Temple after Chaney.
Yeah.
You don't know who these people are. He brought Philly sports media that for everybody to understand that 610 before 97.5, 610 didn't focus on those things.
No.
It's because Mike Missinelli will tell you 100 times the Rolly Massimino thing with Villanova. They hated each other.
Mm-hmm. Oh, they
So
did.
they weren't getting pub. Chaney kind of brought the pub with sports radio,
Yeah.
with TV. Chaney was a fiery character.
Absolutely.
And he brought Temple to a level that was probably even bigger than the Sixers at that point because the
Absolutely.
Sixers sucked.
1988 was the best Temple team really in the history of the university. Number one ranked team in the country. This and this is to your point. Villanova wins the NCAA championship in 85.
Yeah.
Miracle run, right? They're the 8th seed. They come out of nowhere. They beat Georgetown, the champion.
Great team.
Greatest Cinderella run ever.
Yeah, absolutely. Great everything.
But the thing of it was a Cinderella run. And you know what happens at the end, right? It's like, okay, that's great, but what do you do? They don't show up in 86. They just don't.
Same thing with the 08 Phillies. Like, you just fall off. You get to the
fall off, and that's it.
And you're done.
88 comes around.
Don't.
Yeah. 88 comes around, and you've got this powerhouse, this team, Mark Macon and Tim Perry and all these guys, and the wingspans that these guys had when they're playing basketball. You implement what's called a matchup zone. You can't shoot from the outside. You can't shoot from the inside if you try and pass it down low. You've got, the turnover rate that the Temple team in 88 was having was ridiculously outstanding. And it led them all the way to the Elite Eight. They never ended up making a Final Four, which always killed me about Chaney's teams, because it was like, if there's one coach that deserved to go to the Final Four, it was John Chaney, because of the way that he coached, the way that he had his players play for him, and the whole bit.
Absolutely. And we were talking yesterday about a little bit of the matchup zone, which is one of the most it's a weird defensive concept.
Yeah.
And both of us being defensive oriented hockey players, and we kind of like got real deep into it.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like, it almost made us look at the resurgence of a guy like Steph Curry.
Yeah.
And the 3-point shooting in the NBA now. Like, did Chaney literally put the seed out that changed the game?
Yeah.
Like, is Chaney the reason JoJo shoots 3-pointers?
Exactly.
You could almost make that
Make
argument.
an argument for that.
It's a long argument, but you could totally make that up. We totally did that last night.
Absolutely.
You could totally make that argument. Why big men started shooting threes might be because of the way John Chaney coached. That's a high level way of thinking, but just think about it.
Yeah.
Just really break it down with it. What you were saying with the zone and the like. You literally bred a 7-footer that could shoot a 3-pointer because of Temple basketball.
They were tenacious. That was the best thing about that whole team. They were so tenacious defensively.
That's absolutely what I think we really need to do is rest easy, John. You're the man.
Yeah.
You will never be spoken bad of in the city of Philadelphia,
Mm-hmm.
out of my mouth, out of Matt's
Yeah,
mouth,
Matt's
out of
mouth. Yeah.
anybody's mouth.
Yeah.
John Chaney, please rest easy.
Yeah.
Love you to death. You were
Death.
great. Please, Matt, play that one video.
Yeah.
Greatest human being ever.
This was probably, he did not come with, of course, with some controversy, of course.
There isn't controversy when you're wronged. Speak out.
Exactly.
Go for
Exactly.
it.
So let's play this.
Number 2, Jake fires back.
I just got my ass blasted for giving them hell down in West Virginia. And here you get a hell of a job right here today. Good job. 3 class guys. And you pick them out here and single them out. You can't get that young nigga. Shut up, guys. You remember that when I see you, come kick your ass. Kick your ass. You got a good team, and you don't need that edge. That's why I'm telling my kid to knock your kid in the mouth. Standing there pushing the game. Some things never cease to amaze.
John, classic Chaney, man.
Classic Chaney.
He was a fighter, man
was-
alive.
He was wronged,
Yeah.
and he was right in what he was saying.
Yeah.
Calipari, and we all know Calipari's a criminal.
Exactly.
Does he produce athletes? Absolutely. But does he do it the right way? Absolutely
Absolutely
not.
not.
We know.
Yeah.
We know. He was an assistant coach for the Sixers, and he couldn't even survive in the NBA. Let's not joke around about Calipari being great.
Yeah.
Like
Oh, man.
he's one of those scumbags.
Yeah.
And Chaney was calling him out because Chaney got called out 2 weeks before. Let's put that in the focus
Mhm.
for running up the score. And what did Calipari do on Temple?
Yeah.
UMass that day? He ran up the
The
score.
score.
And he's calling it out.
Mhm.
Like, you suck.
Yeah.
Why
Love
would you do, like, you already knew that I got bled for that in the media. We talk about the media all the time.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
He was calling him out on something 100.
Such a fighter. Such a fighter. And I it's, I look at that clip, right?
Why would you?
And the ties down to here, it's just like he is so fired up at the intensity level of him.
I wish he would.
going.
I wish he would have. I wish it would have been a Buddy Ryan.
Oh,
Right. To be honest.
oh
I
yeah.
wish he would have got a sucker punch in because sometimes idiots need a punch in the face.
Yeah.
Not saying
Exactly.
violence is okay, but
Yeah.
I love that about John Chaney.
It was awesome.
He always spoke his mind.
I'll never forget too, John, when that came out about Chaney in 94. I think I was like it was 94, 95 was my freshman year.
Yeah.
And
I
there
remember
was
freshman year of college. Yeah.
McGonigal Hall was the place where they were, and it was a 4,000 seat barn. Yeah, stands on either side. And I remember playing. I was a trumpet player for the Temple Marching Band, and I got a chance to play at a Temple UMass game. And man alive, you want to talk about the hatred? UMass.
I remember that. I was jealous of you that you were playing trumpet at that game.
At that game.
I remember that was awesome.
It was great. We were all the way up in the nosebleeds in the corner of McGonigal Hall, but people
Such a great place.
hated it. Was 100% Temple fans. There were very little UMass fans, if any. If they weren't even going to be admitted that they were going to be UMass fans, but everybody, it was like the rivalry down there, and big time A10 rivalry as well.
That was the Canby time, right?
That was the Marcus Camby time.
Marcus Camby
Exactly.
time.
That was the only one that was like everyone had to stop Marcus Camby. That was the guy we had to stop. No one else mattered at UMass. Everyone had to stop Marcus. Yeah.
Great center.
Yeah, great center. But really, it was like those moments with Calipari was like, I remember like going in, like I was applying for Temple at that point, and news was coming out. They're going to let him go. Meaning that the university is going to let go of John Chaney. They can't take it anymore with this guy because of his fieriness and his passion. But they kept him. and they kept him all throughout. And it was a beautiful, beautiful thing that he did. He drew
Absolutely. He
so
did
much,
such a great job.
such a great job with that university. And unfortunately, like with all things, unfortunately, Father Time catches up, and like people started to. I could get a sense in '98 when they were good enough to make the tournament.
Yeah.
They ran up against, I think it was Buffalo, the University of Buffalo,
Mm-hmm.
in an opening round game in the tournament, and all they're doing is shooting threes, and they're making them. And there's nothing that Temple could do because
But that was the game changer. But that was
the game changer. Exactly.
That was the funny thing, because I think we said back then, when you were you were you were templed up back then, and we used to talk basketball back then.
Yeah.
And that was the thing. Like, I think we always said, if you could shoot threes, we talked about this in hockey too. If you can stop shot from the point, same concept.
Oh, yeah.
You're like, defense in hockey and basketball are the exact same.
If you shoot from the perimeter,
if you can shoot from the perimeter, either hockey or basketball, guess what defense is hard to do? And love for what he did. He changed basketball. He absolutely changed basketball.
He carried the entire city when the Sixers were really at the lowest point.
Yeah, when
Chaney really kind of revitalized the Big Five.
He's the reason Jay Wright exists.
Absolutely.
He's the reason we know who Fran Dunphy
is. Yeah.
Who took over Temple and did a great job.
Yeah. Yeah, exactly. Yeah. And while you have like a St. Joe's, and you have like a, Phil Martelli when he was coaching for them, he doesn't have the success without a Chaney leading the way.
Absolutely. He was the voice.
Yeah.
That kind of changed how we looked in Philly.
Yeah.
At
a time when basketball was really at the lowest point, because the Sixers were not good, and they were not drawing. Yeah.
Absolutely. I would 100% agree with you. 100% agree with you. It was definitely the end of the era. He was the revising of the new era, and he's the reason why the youngins and the us are like, oh, Big Five's awesome.
Yeah.
Well, it wasn't. The Big Five would never have been awesome without John Chaney.
Yeah. So
the Big Five was dead.
Yeah, it was. Yeah,
before
it was always there, but it was revitalized with him, and he took
awesome
it to the next level, no question.
But in the late '80s, early '90s,
oh yeah,
revived it.
Oh my gosh, yeah, absolutely.
Like no, who was LaSalle's coach?
Oh, I couldn't even tell you.
I know his name. Someone, please.
I'll have to get that in the comments. Yeah.
Yeah, definitely. Because in the 80s, Rolly Massimino, Villanova, right?
Yep.
Chaney, they had there were names, and it was a big thing. Yeah. But when they all fell off,
yeah,
I know LaSalle had I can't even remember.
Yeah, there was a doctor. I think it was a doctor or somebody.
That's funny. He was so good.
Yeah, he was good too.
I can't even remember his name. I'm gonna look him up right now. LaSalle's coach in the 80s.
John, there was a great game. I think you have to find it on YouTube. Temple Nova, 88 season when Temple.
Oh, dude, I know it well.
One of the greatest Big Five games ever. So I would encourage our listeners, video and audio.
If I can find it, like you literally, if I can find it, we will post.
We should throw in the show notes. Yeah, definitely.
Absolutely.
I mean, it's a terrific basketball game, and you see the intensity on both sides. It's one of the greatest Big Five games ever in the history of the city of Philadelphia. It's great.
I 100%.
Of course, it comes out with a Temple win. Not going to lie, but
we're biased. We're biased.
Oh, well,
you graduated from Temple. My brother graduated from Temple. We love Temple.
T for W, baby. That's what it's all about. Yeah,
exactly.
Yeah, so John Chaney, we're going to miss you. God bless you, and rest easy, brother. We will see you down the road.
Yes, absolutely.
Yeah,
one of the people I hope, rest easy. You were an amazing soul.
Yeah,
you really were, and we talk a lot about that. So, yeah, absolutely, John.
And for the impact he made I mean, we could go on and on about that. Oh my gosh.
John deserves everything that he's ever gotten.
Absolutely. Yeah. So that wraps up episode number 16, Two Noobs Talking. John, as always, great pleasure talking these things out with you, man.
Always, brother.
But where can people find us? Let's do a
So-
little shameless plug action here.
Yeah, because we do this at every show. So on social medias, you can catch us on Facebook, Instagram, and Twitter. On audio, you're gonna find us on Apple, Spotify, iHeartRadio, Google Podcast, and all other venues. That's Two Noobs Talking 215-512 podcast. Video is going to be YouTube,
Mhm.
BitChute.com,
Mhm.
and Rumble. Thank you, Rumble, for the love you gave us last week.
Mm.
BitChute, pick your game up. It's not even like processing our videos at this point, and we're still talking about you, but I love BitChute. We are now on Discord, and we're going to be doing some stuff.
Mm.
We have some memes being posted. We're gonna do some political memes and some fun sports memes. So you can check us out on Discord. You have to have a Discord, and chat with. It'll be in the show notes. You'll be able to figure it out. Also, we'll do some Q&A if you guys want to. Depends on how this works out, but there's Q&A, and all of our show notes are going to go down there, and then any news, any breaking news will be put on there.
Nice.
Matt, take it away.
Nice. And of course, our show notes, they're right here. Of course, you can't see them because we're going to put them on WordPress. TwoNoobsTalking.wordpress.com. Links for all of our articles, links for all the videos, everything will be all listed right then and there for your easy access and research. John, as always, man, do you have anything final to say?
Matt, don't go down the rabbit hole.
Thank God I don't. Talk to y'all next week. Take care.